Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. My lessons now move on to ABRSM Discovering Music Theory Grade 4, and do remember that this will also call into question all of the information learned in grades 1, 2 and 3, plus all of this new information in grade 4. In grade 4 we now look at the topic of breathes, breathe rests, double dotted notes and duplets. We now also learn a new clef, the alto clef. We look at double flats, double sharps and enharmonic equivalents. We now also look at major and minor keys in up to 5 sharps or 5 flats, and this will include the major key signatures and also harmonic minor scales and melodic minor scales. We now look at intervals again, and we add to our knowledge by learning about the minor second, and we also learn about augmented intervals and diminished intervals. We now also continue to add to our knowledge of triads and chords, building up chords of more than 3 notes, and we build up the primary triads on the 1st, the 4th and the 5th degrees of the scale now. We also learn the technical names for the degrees of the scale. We learn a different way of describing which step or degree of the scale that we are on by giving it its correct title. And of course, as we move to the back of the grade 4 Discovering Music Theory workbook, we now get some more performance directions, terms and signs. We learn some new Italian words, we learn some French musical directions, and we also learn about instruments and the instrumental families. And then towards the back of the book, we now get the opportunity to look at music in context, where we can bring all of the knowledge that we've learned so far from all of the grades that we've covered so far, answering questions relating back to a short musical extract. And then finally, at the back of the ABRSM Grade 4 Discovering Music Theory workbook, we get a practice exam paper where we can try our hand at an exam paper, bearing in mind this is all of the information from grades 1, 2, 3 and the new information in grade 4, and we follow the format of the exam as it would be on exam day. All of the lessons can be found on my Patreon channel. If you visit patreon.com/Sharon Bill, you can find all of the lessons there. You can find the links to this in the cards and in the description box below. After this short little video, you can see sample examples of these lessons to show you just how I work with you step by step through every exercise of the Grade 4 ABRSM Discovering Music Theory workbook. Once you feel that you are ready to take your ABRSM Grade 4 Music Theory exam, I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best be prepared for your exam and how to make the very best use of your time when you're actually taking the exam. This book is available from Amazon. It's in either ebook format or as a paperback, and you can find the links to this in the cards and in the description box below. All of the information that you require can also be found on my website. If you visit www.sharonbill.com, you can find it all there. Enjoy your studies. Bye. Now, we perhaps need to just get diagramming out a little bit more here. How many quavers is a breathe equal to? So I'm just going to diagram this out because it'll help for the last one as well. So we know that a semi-breathe is worth 2 minims, and then if we divide again, we have 4 crotchets, and then if we divide again, it's 8 quavers, however you want to group them. So if one semi-breathe is 8 quavers, we know that a breathe is 2 semi-breathes, so plus another 8 equals 16. So it's 16 quavers. Finally, let's try this last exercise. So if that's C, we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can see that C an octave higher than middle C. C, B, A. 1 up from A is B.
Now it's easier once we get close to middle C again. If that's C, then that is B. Now let's see, pardon the pun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, that's an octave apart. So we can see we've got two B's an octave apart. If that's a B, one step lower is A. Then one step lower is G. G, F, E, cabbage. Yummy. And that's that page completed. And so the key signature is going to do all of the work for us. We've already got B flats, of course, at the beginning and the end, E flats. We've got the A flat, D flat, and G flat. Now, in order to raise the 7th degree of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the flat must be made natural to raise it by a degree. A flat raised becomes A natural. And that way we will always get the same arrangement of tones and semitones. And if you remember, 2 to 3, 5 to 6 and 7 to 8 are always semitones in a correctly written harmonic minor scale. And it's going to be exactly the same descending. However, don't forget that as you are descending, you're now going 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. So your key signature is doing all of the work. All you've got to notice is that this is A flat, and so we need to cancel that for the raised 7th. And again, the semitones are always 2 to 3, 5 to 6, 7 to 8. So you can always just double check it that way. You could construct the scale from the start bearing that in mind, but it would just take way too long. And it's not a very flexible working knowledge, but it's there as a little double check. Now then, we're asked to show which of these bars shows bar 7 correctly rewritten with notes of half the value. So let's look at bar 7 first of all. So here we are in common time, which is 4/4, which means 4 crotchet beats per bar. And so in order to have half of that, we're going to have to go to 4 beats per bar, but each beat will be a quaver. So that will be, we're looking for 4/8. So that's present in all of those. So we know that's sorted in either case. However, let's look at what happens when we reduce everything by half. So we should have, instead of a dotted minim, we'll have a dotted crotchet tied to, now this group of notes here will become demi-semiquavers, won't they? We need 3 beams there. So that's what we will be looking for. So we're looking for dotted crotchet tied to a group of 4 demi-semiquavers. So here we have a dotted crotchet F sharp. The key signature is there and it's tied to the correct notes, and they are demi-semiquavers. That's correct. Let's see why these are not correct. So although the time signature is correct and this is correct, we're actually only in semiquavers here. We need demi-semiquavers. We should have another beam there. And here that looks like it should be correct, but we're actually the dot missing. And so that's why that one is not correct. And so that's the first exercise nicely completed.